I posted a quote on, gosh, whatever Instagram's version of Twitter is. And it was basically that strength training is pretty simple. It's humans and their thoughts, beliefs, expectations, and lack of general clarity or desire for like the shiny object or the magic bullet. That's the stuff that's complicated. And somebody chimed in, which it was just funny because they're like, I'm usually against coaches, talking about mindset, but this was a good take. And the funny thing is, like, yeah, it's kind of cringe to talk about like, oh, mindset and like, hey, how do we get people to believe that they can do things? And there is something really important about understanding that most people just aren't really self-aware of what they really want out of this, right? It's either really superficial or they're not willing to just say, this is what I want. And one of the biggest things that I have seen with myself and as a coach and a physical therapist is people really just don't know what they're trying to do, right? What this is for. And it's not that I think you have to have any like grand philosophy on why you should strength train or why this is important, but I do think that this fundamental understanding that physical activity is necessary to feel good as a human being can really be helpful. Like, the more activity people get on average, the better they feel, the less comorbidities they have, the stronger and more capable they are. Everything goes down the more activity people get to a certain point, combined with general like good behaviors in your environment, right? So at the foundational level, I do think we suck at teaching people how good physical activity for them, even when it's not perfect, even when you're not being judged against somebody else, right? Even when it's not a competition, because most of the time it's not a competition. The only real competition is with yourself, and I know that's cringy and mindset-y, but it really is. Like, hey, are you getting better than you were a year ago? Are you getting stronger than you were a year ago? And that's not always going to be true. A lot of times you have to accept that there's going to be a certain point in your life where you're just not going to be capable of doing better than you are now. But usually we don't know when that is. And people think that they're at like their genetic limitation or they're at this limitation, and they're nowhere near it. Mostly because they haven't gotten clarity on what they're after. They haven't been patient and persistent, and they're not self-aware enough to push themselves appropriately while also managing their own mind, right? Because a lot of this is really just, hey, how long are you willing to play the game? How willing are you to try pretty hard, while also acknowledging that like you're not going to get fit in a 6-week period. You're not going to get all the things you want in a short-term period, right? I remember thinking, I'm going to start CrossFit. I was like 20 years old or 18 years old. I'm like, I'm going to start CrossFit, and I'm going to get super jacked in like 12 weeks. Or I think it was even 6 weeks. And 6 weeks went by, and it's 16 weeks later, and I am still pursuing, just the best version of me. And I think that's what it's really about. So it's not that much of this stuff is that complicated. Most people know that exercise is good for them. Where they get lost is like, how hard should I push? It's basically taking the principles and applying it to the individual. And it's just like anything else. You can teach people and you can help them learn, but until they're ready to learn or until they really want to learn, it's kind of a losing battle. So develop self-awareness. Mindset and performance go hand in hand. But it's mostly just principles and being patient and learning to manage your mind and keep showing up and trying to make the most of it. So appreciate you. Have a good day. Thanks for being here. Peace.